Greetings. Welcome back to Black Bear News, where everything is connected. Welcome to the Friday Fix. This is what I'm going with for now. I don't know. Maybe there's something better out there. Or do you guys still like Gaslight Fridays? I don't know if anybody remembers that. Anyways, what's going on? So today it's Friday, so I think what I wanted to do was do more of an open format. Talk to the chatters, take questions from the viewers today. Obviously, I prefer questions from Buy Me a Coffee or a Rockfin tip or something like that. It would be awesome. Probably give those precedents, but not necessary today. So, yeah, if you guys, we'll just kind of talk about a few things. What's up, Gene? How you doing? Got a lot of getting some people into the YouTube chat, getting some people into the Rockfin chat. Hello. We're also live on Callin. And yeah, I'll take calls today. Whenever somebody feels like calling in, go ahead and do it. What up, people of Rockfin? Okay, so I don't know. We'll start with some general news, but if you guys have somebody has a particular question or comment or topic they want to get into, let me know. Max Sarjay says press freedom is a war crime, right? Freedom of religion is against YouTube policies, guidelines, etc. Oh, yeah. Andre says it's 75 degrees in northwest Montana. In the 70s for the next 10 days. I take it that's a rarity for October in Montana, right? That's quite warm for October in Montana. 87 in Humboldt County, California. Wow. I'd say that's probably a rarity in Humboldt County, right? That's got to be rare weather condition for October, but maybe I'm wrong, but I'm going to go out on a limb and guess that that's just not a usual thing. Let me not forget, I did get a coffee after hours yesterday from Fleur, Ali, and Timothy. Said thanks for your work from Belgium. Thank you, guys. 93 Medford, Oregon. Wow, what is going on? Golly, I wonder what's happening. All these heat waves and stuff, there's something going on. I don't know what it is. Can anybody have an idea? Arcadia says Guy McPherson gives subtle hints that 2026 will not be the end of the world. Now it will happen before 2030. Yeah. Who knows, guys? Who knows? It can happen at any moment. Could be next year, could be 10 years from now, could be 20 years from now. We actually don't know how it's going to play out. We really don't know. Nobody knows. I'm going to stay away from the prediction game, and I'm also going to say on one level, well, let's read this Twitter post that actually is pretty good. Let's take up where did it go? Where did it go? Somewhere in here. It's lots of very doomy subjects. In my Twitter feeds these days, but that's kind of par for the course. What? Is that right? What the hell is this? That was really weird. That was very weird. What was that? I tried to what? That was bizarre. I don't even know where that came from. Okay. I must have clicked a link somewhere, but what the heck? From where? Uh the possibility of nuclear war has a way of concentrating the mind. It's a limit case of collapse. Removing the future in a day rather than a decade, the benefit is the same. The benefit? The reality is revealed to be only the eternal now, the ever unfolding moment in which all our life is lived. And I get that's what he means, I guess. The benefit is that, you know, live your life, enjoy your life, live your life to the fullest. What was the old eat, drink, and be merry? For tomorrow may never come, or something like that. But at the same time, I do agree. Live life to to its fullest, or your fullest, if you wish. But also, don't live as if you're going to die tomorrow. Right? So there's a middle ground, there's a middle road. Right? If you just party it up and behave like there's no tomorrow, well, what you're gonna do is give yourself no tomorrow. It's going to be a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's all going to be over in a year. Well, and then, you're in the ICU, you're on your deathbed, you're dying of whatever it might be, and the world is still going on. You're like, hey, I thought the end was going to be this year. So that's why the prediction game is a bad game. Or the whole like, oh, it's all over next year. I've been doing this channel for 5 years. Let me tell you how many times people, walked up into my chats, all, full of knowledge. They know everything. That's it. It's over. It's all going to be done next year. And shut up. You tell, if you talk about anything else happening other than it's over next year, something wrong with you. So that's been happening for 5 years. A little bit less lately. I think everybody understands my view on it now. But I also think that a lot of people understand, well, that prediction game wasn't really the game to be in. That wasn't a good bet. Because you start looking a little foolish after a while. So, yeah, look, live well, do right by yourself. That's a better suggestion, I think, is do right by yourself, whatever that might be, right? So partying it up and living it up and drinking yourself into a coma, or just trashing your life, or whatever, throwing everything away because you think nothing's going to matter tomorrow. Is that going to do right by you? Especially when you get there tomorrow and everybody's still going forward. There's still a world. There's still a place to exist. You still have to pay the bills. You still have to have a place to live. You still have to eat food, right? Is that doing right by yourself? Probably not. Probably not. What's another good? What's another good maxim to live by? Plan for the worst, hope for the best. That's another one that I like. I mean, I don't know about hope for the best, but live as if there is going to be a future, but then also realize you never know what day is going to be your last day. You don't know what day is going to be the day that you walk, that some random something helicopter, small Cessna, asteroid, whatever it could be. Something comes and takes you out, right? You could be taken out tomorrow, but live as if you might be here a couple more days than tomorrow or next year. But don't let me tell you what to do. You do whatever you think is right for you. Some people are like, I don't want to, I don't want to prep for the future. If everything falls apart, I just want to go out in a blaze of glory. Okay. That's totally fine if that's what you want to do. I don't know. Everybody's kind of trickling in. So today is open format, just kind of open-ended conversation. So if you have a question or something you want to talk about in particular, feel free to call in on the call-in app or leave a comment in the chats or whatever. We're just having kind of more of an open conversation today. Yeah. Andre says prepping won't do you any good. I mean, maybe for a little while. It might actually do you some good for a little while. If that's, what you want to do. If you want to hold out. If you want to, well, all right, here's a scenario for prepping. When the lockdowns happened with COVID, the stores were still open, but there was a crunch on a lot of things, right? And suddenly that was a moment in which you were kind of like, oh, I really wish I had a few extra jars of peanut butter or a few extra bags of rice or whatever it might be. And yeah, for like the first like week or two, it was a little bit like mayhem going to the store trying to get just, basic things because a lot of things were out because there was a run on a lot of things. And so when those things were available, I made sure to buy extra of those, right? Because I was like, oh, well, what if they run out again? So that was a moment in which a lot of people were brought, very quickly face to face with not having things readily at hand, that they usually have. And here's another thing. That was a momentary inconvenience. So that was a thing that didn't last forever. So, what if you had some extra supplies? What if the power goes out for 2 weeks? What if, who knows? What if something happens and things go down for a week or 2 weeks, but then they go back up and everything comes back online again? But for those week or 2 weeks, that's crunch time, right? That's going to be a time when people go a little bit nuts. So that's a scenario in which prepping is actually a responsible thing to do, right? I'm not talking about maybe prepping for the very end. I'm not talking about prepping for Mad Max. Maybe you don't want to prep for that, but maybe you want to prep for something, for a bump in the road. In which case, that's kind of why people, well, I don't know if people save money anymore, have savings accounts. That's why people used to save money, right? It was like, I don't know, something wacky might happen and I won't have any income for a month, or something wacky might happen. All of a sudden I have this huge out-of-pocket expense that I didn't foresee. That's why people save money. I don't know. Andre, I have a barbecue. I can cook with no power. I also have a fire pit in my backyard, so I can, if things got weird. Well, and I also have a gas stove, so if the power goes out but the gas stays on, I still cook. But let's say they both go out, I can still cook. I can still cook food. I'm resourceful. I could heat up water for coffee. I could still cook some rice. I can cook some beans on a fire pit. I can do all those things. Now, where would I get the wood is another question. How much wood do I have stocked up? That's a good question. I do have lots of charcoal. I have bags and bags of charcoal for whatever reason, because every single time I go camping or we have a party, like for a long time, I would buy a bag of charcoal, and but I would never use the whole thing. So then I have like 5 half filled bags of charcoal. So I could cook for a couple days on charcoal. Just saying. Loey Abbott says prepping for nothing. Choir Boy says prepping for the public's reaction is huge. And Loey Abbott says, I listened to an experienced prepper. There is nothing to hunt for. That's interesting. That's an interesting take. How much, if you're gonna go hunter gatherer, what would you hunt for? What would you hunt for? Anyways, let's move to, I guess, maybe another subject. Again, taking calls. The lines are open all day, or for the rest of the hour, but the hour is going quickly. The hour's going quickly. Maybe we'll just move through a bunch of items. Elliot Jacobson, how fast is CO2 rising? This year's low is higher than 2019's high. Yikes. That's how quickly that's going. Imagine if that was temperature, right? Imagine if the lows start getting as high as the highs. Imagine if the low temperature of any particular night was 100 degrees. Ew. It happens in the Middle East, for sure. Very occasionally. But imagine if you were in that scenario where the lows, maybe the low temp in your neighborhood for a couple of weeks was like 90 degrees or 95. And the high was, take a guess. But CO2, that's happening. The low is now the high. But there's, I don't know if that's saying much, because there's a variability, but it doesn't go up and down. Like, it's not a huge spike. So maybe that's not too amazing of a graph. Who knows? Let's keep going. Got a couple of interesting posts from Poppy. I think humans as a species has failed. But we're not alone. All creatures have the biological imperative to survive and to reproduce as much as possible. Flora and fauna outgrow their resources and die, and we help. Are we so different with our big brains? Good question. Populations now. So this is where the world is at as far as the populations of particular mammals. 1,864 pandas, 7,000 cheetahs, 13,000 tigers, 13,000 manatees, 22,000 lions, 27,000 rhinos, 30,000 polar bears, 117,000 giraffes, 120,000 hippopotamus, 321,000 gorillas. You might think, oh, that's a lot of gorillas. But there are 1,200,000 pet cats and dogs. Am I reading that number right? Yeah, 1 billion. Very close to 8 billion humans, 26 billion chickens, and 1 billion cows. That's a lot of billions. So when you compare that to the populations of these other animals, well, those other animals are struggling, aren't they? And that most likely will be going down, yes? That's the way that it's going. That's the direction in which it's going. I don't know. Who knows how to hunt a squirrel or a raccoon? Can you eat a raccoon? How about a crow? We have lots of crows here. We also have lots of like wild parrots. I wonder if people start hunting the wild parrots if the stores close down for good. Probably. We also have lots of coyotes, bears. Supposedly we have mountain lions, but they're fairly scarce, the mountain lions around here. They are around. Judy Truitt says, my husband was a hunter. I carved up deer and elk. Rabbits are a good meal. Your neighbor has cows. Yeah. Anybody know the guy Rob Greenfield? He's on Instagram. I think I showed you his page before. Anyways, he's doing a foraging thing where he's living, I don't know how many, is it a whole year or 6 months or something, where he's just foraging. He's living off the food that he forages. It's quite interesting. But in the last video I saw of him, he was pulling a deer off of a road that somebody had struck with their car, I guess. He's like, I foraged this deer. You know, I did not kill this deer. This deer was dead and it was meat, so I ate it. All right, let's go see if I've received any coffees for the day. Not yet. No coffees. Rockfin tips. No Rockfin tips yet. All good. We will continue. Today is kind of open day. Just an open conversation. We're just talking about this and that. I don't know if anybody has any news stories they want to talk about in particular. Unless you want me to just bring the news. Let's see. Liz Truss said, do I have that one? Ukraine can win. Ukraine must win. And Ukraine will win. That's scary. That's frightening, right? What does that mean? It means you're not going to let any other... what the heck? Man... I don't know what was going on. Maybe this will help.
We should not give in to those who want a deal which trades away Ukrainian land. They are proposing to pay in Ukrainian lives for the illusion of peace. We will stand with our Ukrainian friends, however long it takes. Ukraine can win, Ukraine must win, and Ukraine will win.
And the crowd goes wild.
Yes. Oh, they will win. Okay. I don't know. That doesn't sound too good. That sounds like some warmongering. Did we talk about Zelensky saying that we should do a preemptive nuclear strike yesterday? I think maybe we talked about it a little bit. I don't know. That doesn't sound too good. It sounds a little scary when you have people saying, well, we're going all the way, and that's it. Oh, really? That's funny, Basil. What was that called? Dang it, I can't remember the name of that. Yes, the train where they're all on a train, and the world was frozen. What was the name of that movie? Truss looks like the leader on that train. Wasn't it, oh my God. Now I'm getting it all confused because somebody had a really good conspiracy theory about that train movie. That it was a sequel to something else. I can't remember. Snowpiercer. Yes, that's right. Thank you, guys. Snowpiercer. It was a weird movie. I don't know. It's okay. Unapologetic Vegan says, I harvested 9 pounds of peppers this morning. Yes. 9 pounds of pepper. Good on you. All right, we got a call. We'll take this call. What's up, Kevin? How you doing?
I forgot to unmute myself.
It's all right.
How are you doing?
All right. Doing good.
I've had a lot of things on my mind, but did you notice today that Peter McCullough was kicked off Twitter?
Oh, was he? No, I didn't see that. I mean,
it's unbelievable. I don't know what their plan is, but the overall plan.
Yeah, I don't know either because, well, isn't it? It seems a little late in the game for kicking people off of platforms for misinformation, doesn't it?
I'm curious what he wrote, but when I mean overall plan, I mean, the lockdowns, the zero COVID China,
Right.
I mean, it seems like China and the U.S. went overboard the most, but
maybe. I mean, I think China went overboard, but I think other countries. I think Australia was worse than the U.S.
Oh, yep, right.
And in Europe, in some places in Europe, they seem to be. It seemed like some of the things were a little more stringent, but I don't know because I didn't actually go there, so it's hard to know.
No, you're right about that.
But the overall plan, yeah. What's going on? Because it seems like these two competing. I don't want to talk about. I want to be careful about COVID, but two competing things going on, which is one, the mainstream media and a lot of other outlets and also leaders and people, are rolling back kind of COVID policies or rolling back some of the COVID things. And some, more information is coming to light, right? Around what's really going on. And then you still have though people that are super, like people on Twitter that are just super, just psychopathically kind of like, well, we're still in a pandemic and we all need to just lock down and wear masks again and forever and ever, amen. It's like, wait, you guys, what are you experiencing that's telling you that this is still happening? That's what's wild to me is like, where, I mean, there's no COVID policies here anymore or anywhere. It seems like, and Biden himself said we're done. So I don't know.
Well, the opposing side, like I don't know if you're aware of Senator Ron Johnson doing his own, investigations into the policies.
Yeah.
He's up for re-election this year. I think is it Wisconsin or Michigan, one of the two.
I think he's Wisconsin, but I might be wrong.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see if they can get something rolling in the fall or next January.
Yeah. Yeah, and then they're still like kicking people off of YouTube and Twitter and right, for saying things that are now almost become now kind of common knowledge type things, right? There's so much information coming out, and there's so many mainstream sources of news have indicated like, okay, well, we see, all right, there's different news coming out about this, so we're going to report it. And then other people are reporting, kind of reporting the same thing. These other news outlets are reporting it, but they're still being penalized. It's really strange. I don't know. And I'm still reluctant to really have kind of a wilder or more in-depth conversation about COVID right now, because I'm on YouTube. Yep. So I don't even really want to go too far into it.
It's actually kind of hilarious that YouTube is still sticking by the community guidelines.
It's strange. It is strange. I don't know.
To unceremoniously segue into a different topic, I listen to C-SPAN Washington Journal every morning.
Yeah.
Because it's entertaining. The public calls in, and a lot of them get their talking points straight from mainstream media, and they're just parrots. But this morning, the topic was, what was it yesterday? The days are running into one another. What's your biggest thing for your biggest political issues? And it's interesting that it seems like more people are becoming doomers. There's people that are calling in, they're talking about the world population and sixth mass extinction. There's more frequent callers that know about what's going on.
It's interesting, isn't it? Yeah. I was listening to something else about the latest like Monmouth poll, I guess, about what is concerning people in the coming election. And but I think in general people have a sense of foreboding. And that just seems to be a general theme in people's lives, or in the news, or in how people are looking at the future, that things look kind of bleak. And how does that shape everything like going forward? I don't know.
Well, and maybe one of the things confounding about the election this fall is there's nobody really to vote for that seems to be aware of the state of the planet.
Nope. It's amazing. It is amazing. I was going to say, that's a really weird disconnect, because I think a whole lot of people understand what's going on with climate change. I think climate change is an unspoken, issue for a lot of people, because I think way more people, even the people that say, oh, there's no climate change, even people that are out, open skeptics or deniers, understand deep in their soul that, oh, there's something wrong. There's something very wrong. But they're really just pushing it away, pushing it down. But way more people understand that we're in trouble with the climate than want to admit, because if you admit it out loud, or if you actually like take it into your waking consciousness, then you're gonna, it's gonna be overwhelming. It's overwhelming for a lot of people.
It's part of, yeah, it's for the people that know what's going on, it is overwhelming. But for other people that are kind of casual, acceptors of climate change, I think that they have this idea that it's, 100 years away, and it's kind of abstract.
Sure. There's that. And then, and then there's people that don't. It's still an issue that people just do not. I mean, I'm flabbergasted, and I know, maybe people take issue with me talking about other channels or other platforms, but I'm amazed at how little people not just don't understand, but don't talk. It's not even a thing that's, it used to be a thing that was on a lot of lefty progressive channels where people would go, oh, we're going to talk all day long about these political issues. And then once in a while they'd go, and climate change, right? But that's it. That's all they would say. Oh, we have all these problems. We have this, and this. Oh, and climate change. But then we won't even talk about climate change. We won't even address the issue. These are lefty progressive channels that refuse. And now, I mean, I think the reality of what's going on is actually pushing down the conversation on some levels, right? Because the reality is becoming so obvious. It is so obvious to people that they're like, mum's the word. No way. No, no, we're not. I don't even want to address anything about this. I don't want to go anywhere near this. Because then you've got to admit reality, and then you've got to deal with something that's really huge, right? And it's, maybe that's what will happen is the more obvious it becomes, the more people are just going to be like, nope, we are not. Anyways, what were we talking about? We are not going to address this issue at all. Let's keep talking about politics and Ukraine and COVID, and I mean, all those are, sure, those are subjects, but
right. Well, I think if it's fear that's making people, quiet or a little subdued, next year, I mean, my last thought, then I'll get off the phone, but we're supposed to see El Nino next year.
Yeah, supposedly.
La Nina's coming to an end. So next year, like next fall, we might see some, I don't know, some things that will turn climate deniers into climate believers.
I'm sure we will. I mean, unfortunately, I'm positive we will. And the that's the other thing that I see is that it is very fashionable to question climate science right now, or anybody who's talking about climate change. Even I was just listening to this random like call-in show maybe a couple of weeks ago, and they were like, it was a soft denial. It was like, yeah, we're going to talk about climate change, but we're going to talk about it in a way that kind of paints it as an overblown issue, but very, calm and sedate and with lots of, graphs and studies. And, I was like, but you guys are actually, you're trying to be all like scientific in your presentation. But the thing is you're again with everybody, when everybody does this, is they leave out the obvious evidence that something is going on, right? Like, what about all these extreme weather events? What about all the glaciers that are melting? What about the Arctic that's melting? What about the warming oceans? What about the stronger storms and the floods and the hurricanes and the rain and the rivers? There's no more water in the rivers. And what about, what I mean? There's just all these things happening, coalescing together that make you, I mean, you've got to be just absolutely unconscious, in your soul, to not go, something is very, very wrong, and it's frustrating. And it's also mind boggling to me that people just, I listen to news stations all day long from all over the place, and people are absolutely just refusing to even acknowledge anything that's going, happening. Unless they're saying, oh, it's just climate change. These people, they think climate change is real. Whatever. It's just weird.
Yeah, Paul Beckwith seems to be one of the more cool, calm and collected people.
Yeah.
But the last couple of videos he's dropped in the last few days, he's sounding a little more strenuous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, how could you not? I mean, it's yeah, we're just in a weird phase right now where it's like, well, if you are paying attention to what's happening on the planet, weather-wise or climate-wise, something is definitely happening, right? Some things are a creeping up, and so who knows where it's going to go or how fast it will go there. But in the next couple of years, I think more things will start to happen that will be, we'll have a few events that people are just going to be like, oh my God, you know what I mean? Like that are going to be more jaw dropping than like Biden saying, well, Hurricane 5, Category 5 hurricane, that clinches it. I mean, that's not a clincher. That is something for people to mock. But he's not wrong, but there will be an event that's going to be like, I don't know what it's going to be, 130 degrees in some place that's not, 130 degrees in South Dakota on a given day, right? It's going to be like, okay, now that will never, ever, ever is ever supposed to happen, right? Or a heat wave, yeah, that'll just, kill thousands of people, right? Like, something like that is going to happen.
China, that's been going on for the last month in China. If they happen here,
yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean these are if you're paying attention, these are mind-boggling events. These are like, oh my God, what is there is something really, really wrong. If you're paying attention to all the rivers drying up, kind of all at the same time, there's something going on.
Yeah.
But or we'll have a mass. We'll have something. Agriculture will take such a hit, that all of a sudden it's going to be like there's nothing to eat for millions of people. And then people go, oh my God, I don't have time to make up a story about this because I'm too busy, freaking out, whatever. But, yeah, so and I don't want that to happen. I actually truly, in my soul dread that moment. I don't want that to happen. I'm hoping for more normality or, more time of normalness. I want more time of normalness, but I think something like that is likely to happen in the next couple of years. And people will be like, then it'll be like it'll be a super freak out moment because all the people that were pushing it away in their subconscious, they're like, oh, I see something that's going on here, but I'm absolutely not going to acknowledge it. And then that'll be a moment when everybody will be forced to acknowledge it all at once. And then, has anybody watched the show? Have you ever watched the show Westworld?
I have that collection and I've started it, but never finished it.
Well, I've been watching that show and it's about, the future, the world with AI and robots and right. There's these robot people. But there's this moment where they turn off the AI that is controlling everybody. And like the AI is not only watching everything you do, it's actually programming your future for you. So it actually it's like predictive programming, but they take all your metrics and everything that's going on with you, and then they like create like a future for you. Anyways, without getting too deep into it, there's a point at which they turn off the AI and everybody kind of gets like a truth bomb to their device, to their phone. Basically, they all learn like what's really happening in their lives because they're kind of blinded to what's really going on. And the world kind of people go mad because they learn the truth of what's happening. And the world just simultaneously, everybody on the planet like simultaneously kind of loses their minds. And it's like a huge riot. It's a huge breakdown of civilization. And so that's what I fear is that, there'll be this moment in climate, in the climate biosphere, whatever, in the next couple of years where it's just so overwhelmingly obvious that we are screwed, that we messed up. And then that will be a moment when people cannot deny it anymore. And then there'll be this like kind of madness that sets in. Probably.
Yeah. I do think it's coming before 2030 for sure.
Yeah. Who knows? I mean, who knows? More than likely, I would probably agree with you that, sometime within you can't even say the next 10 years because now that's 8 or 7 years away, but 8 years away. But yeah, we're on the precipice of something.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
yeah.
I'll get off the phone.
Thanks for the call, man.
Thanks. Bye.
Right, peace. All right. Yeah, you don't get me wrong. I really don't look forward to that moment. I personally don't want any parts of it, but I also have to be realistic and understand, well, that's a high likelihood that something like that will happen. And so what you going to do? I don't know. What are you going to do when that happens? Where are you going to be? What are you, it's something that, people who have understood climate change have struggled with for a long time. The emotional, thinking that through and realizing what that reality might feel like or look like is a lot for people to handle. So, I don't know. How will you deal with it? All right, it's 12:50. Let's check on the coffees. Did I get any coffees at Buy Me a Coffee /Black Bear News? It's a good way to support the channel. Not as of yet. We'll check Rockfin. No tips on Rockfin as of yet. What's up, Osama? How you doing? You're making sober pledges? That's great. I support that. I endorse that. Denver Attaway says, if plankton is wiped out, we won't have any air to breathe. If plankton is decreasing, when do we reach the break-even point? Right. Yeah, trust me, if I thought alcohol was actually going to make me feel better, I probably would do it, but it just doesn't do it. If I thought smoking weed would make me feel better, I might do it, but it just doesn't. I got afflicted with something. What up, brother? I got afflicted with wanting to avoid that feeling. Like if I never have to feel hungover again in my life, I try to stay with that. And in fact, many mornings I get up being super happy that I'm not hungover. Andre says, I bought you 2. You did? Are you talking about coffees? You did. Did I not see him? I'm sorry. My bad. We did. Yeah, Andre, thank you. Also known as someone. Bought 2 coffees. Says, thanks, Kevin. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thanks for letting me know, too. What I forgot is that I have to refresh the page. The coffees don't just show up automatically, and I forgot about that. Thank you. Rudol Zavedno says, I am afraid of suffering, not death. I don't know that I'm afraid of either, but I just don't want to experience either. Thanks, man. Thank you, Osama. I appreciate that. Don't know if I'm afraid, but I want to avoid as much as possible. I don't know. All right. Thanks again, Andre. I appreciate that. Very cool. Yeah, if we don't have any more, I'll invite people to call into the call-in app. We got a couple more minutes if anybody wants to call in. Somebody tried to call in yesterday, like right at the end of the show. I apologize, but I was ending the show, and as soon as I hit the end button, somebody was trying to call in, but I had already turned everything off, so I couldn't take the call. But got a couple minutes if somebody wants to call in. I will leave the floor open. Judy Truitt says New Mexico has a right to die law. That's fine. I think it's, I think it's people's right to do what they want to do with their life and their body. That's fair. Basil says, I don't get hung over. I just don't get shit done. Okay. Yeah. I get hung over. I get like super dopey. It's hard enough to function, I feel like I'm kind of pushing the rock up the hill, if you will, most days without anything. I don't know. Ken Lundgren says AI taking over may well become the Earth's only hope, if indeed anything else. If indeed anything does, I don't know. Maybe it's already here on a limited level. It's probably already here on a more than we know, right? Maybe not so limited. What the public is allowed to view of AI is already here, but there's probably a much more complicated AI doing its thing that people have no knowledge of. Yeah, it didn't get. There's a heat wave in Africa still going. Indonesian floods. Well, maybe I'll get all these stories out tomorrow. OPEC slashed oil production. I was just talking about the price of gas shooting up like really fast in the last week or two, and then they slashed oil production, and obviously that's not going to lower the price of gas. That's going to send it the other way. I was like, all right, great. What are we going to, now is it going to be, and people are saying that it was a poke in the eye to the Biden administration, right? Because the Biden administration went to Saudi Arabia and said, hey, can you guys pump us some more gas? And they were like, I don't know, we'll think about it. And then they thought about it and they were like, how about less gas? How about that? Take that, blah, poke you in the eye. OPEC and allies moved to slash oil production, eliciting blistering White House response. Andre says $10 a gallon. Dear Lord, man, I bought this old scooter. It's pretty cool. I bought this old scooter for various reasons, but but what I didn't think about was buying it for gas reasons. So I don't drive my car much. I've been driving the scooter around because it uses way less gas than the car does. So I don't know if we're going to see $10 a gallon, but we could see $7, $8 a gallon easy. White House officials reacted after the OPEC Plus coalition moved to curb production in response to falling prices. They were like, This is no good. We can't have this. Gas only being $5 a gallon. We can't have this. We need some more prices. We need some higher prices. In a rebuke to President Biden that could push up gas prices worldwide, worsen the risk of global recession, and bolster Russia in its war with Ukraine. The move by OPEC and its partners prompted a blistering reaction from White House officials and reverberated almost immediately through domestic and global financial markets, threatening higher energy costs for the United States and European countries already grappling with inflation and economic instability. Oh, who could have seen that happening? I don't know. The U.S. just, roaming the country, roaming the globe, roaming the planet, swaggering around, flexing its muscles, trying to impose its will. After decades of that, all of a sudden, there's a lot of countries that are saying, "Yeah, nah, we're not with it anymore." Oh, you couldn't see that happening? Couldn't foresee that? They will be getting more from Venezuela. That's hilarious. $7 a gallon in Rancho Mirage, California. Yeah, I believe that because it went up to, man, it was around $5, and in some places here it was like under. If you were getting the cheap gas, it was a little under $5, maybe as low as like $4.80. And then wham, like in a week it went up to like it's $6 and or like $6.30 in a lot of places. It was like $6.30. Like it, like bam, it happened real quick. I was like, whoa, that was fast. So I believe $7 is, I'm sure, right around the corner if it keeps going the way it's going. Anyways, that's not good. Not in the short term. I mean, I'm for less oil production for sure, but in the short and as an economic, I'm not like way to go OPEC, way to go green. That's not what they're doing. They're just trying to put the screws to people. Is what they're trying to do, and then fill their coffers. The coffins. Line it with the cash. White House officials contemplating their next steps and publicly hinting at unprecedented measures to undercut the Gulf nation's grip on international. And what does that mean? International energy markets. How are you going to undercut the Gulf nation's grip on the energy markets? What does that even mean? Russia will benefit from the cut. There you go. There's another stick in the eye. First time the group cut oil production targets since the beginning of the pandemic. And it's more aggressive than many analysts had expected even a few days ago. All right. Inflation, new from OPEC Plus. Get your OPEC Plus today. All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate your eyes, your ears, and your conscience. I will see you tomorrow at 12 p.m. Pacific Daylight. And until next time, peace.